Welcome to CommercialDrones.fm, the podcast that explores the commercial drone industry, the people who power it, and the concepts that drive it. I'm your host, Ian Smith. Hey everybody, Ian here, coming at you, recording from the Drone Deploy office in chilly, sunny San Francisco, California. And today our guest is Dor Abuhasira, who's the CEO at Percepto. I think I got your name right. It wasn't the perfect pronunciation.
You got it right.
But welcome to the show, Dor. Really happy to have you.
Thanks a lot, and really happy to be here.
Excellent. So let's tell some people about Percepto. So what is Percepto? Tell us a little bit, like, what's your elevator pitch for Percepto?
Well, an end-to-end solution for a drone-in-a-box solutions, as we discussed earlier. It basically means that we provide a drone in a box, a base station and a drone that can come out of this base station and come back to it, with the goal that you deploy this box somewhere, and instead of having a pilot on site, you just connect to the cloud and you manage this drone operation, scheduling of mission data from the cloud, for purposes of security routines, safety routines, and inspection.
So this is basically the future of the drone industry.
I surely hope so.
Well, I believe it is. So I've talked about drones in a box, quote unquote, a lot. It's not the most elegant name, but it's very descriptive. Yeah. Drone lives in a box, presumably charged by solar panels or whatever it's hooked up to, and it just does its scheduled mission every single day or multiple times a day potentially. So that's awesome. You're the first company that has this type of technology that's like commercially available on the show. So really appreciate that. Tell us a little bit about the history of the company then, and where was it founded, when, and kind of why did you create this company? You're the CEO.
Yeah, a CEO and part of a three people co-founding team. So we were founded in 2014, actually January 2014, and we're based out of Israel still. We basically founded the company when we realized that the drones we are building for fun are not that far from the drones that my co-founder, Raviv Raz, was building in his company. He worked for a big defense drone manufacturer. And in terms of capabilities, they were not that different than the drones they were selling for big, chunks of dollars. And so we thought that there is a way to innovate and capitalize on this kind of new technology emerging in different verticals. The team was very technical. So my background, I'm an electrical engineer, and I in a background from hardware, work for a big system telecommunication company in Israel called ECI Telecom, basically the Israeli Cisco. Raviv, he's a mechanical engineer, and he worked in a big drone manufacturer, also fly planes. So he's an Israeli Air Force pilot. And we added another technical co-founder called Sagi Blonder, who I knew from school, just knew he's the smartest guy I know. Well, I'm going to join to any company I'm going to build. And he was studying computer vision in Tel Aviv University, and an expert in any software that you can imagine, even though most of his career was in semiconductor. And we set up to build new technology of real-time AI and computer vision for drones, without really being sure what the application will be in 2013. And as time went by, I think what we realized is that drone space was lacking in applications. The commercial space looked amazing, like blue ocean, so many applications, so much opportunity. But basically, it was hard to build technology for, just a market that didn't exist yet. And so pretty fast, I must say, we decided that we're going to focus on delivering an end-to-end solution. Mm-hmm. And today we are a solution provider that is still based on real-time computer vision and AI, but we offer the customer the full solution for drone in a box.
Yeah. So you kind of pivoted from initially identifying there was going to be a market for computer vision and all these analytics and stuff, and then you found like the medium in which to deliver that would be drones,
exactly,
presumably. Awesome. And so the goal of the company then, so I want to kind of talk about first, you said, what's your background specifically actually before Percepto? Where did you come from?
So like I said, telecommunication, it's basically big system that's at the backbone of our network. I'm an R&D guy, but you deal with manufacturing and you deliver those big kind of hardware software products to tier one customers. And I think my expertise was actually building big systems. I was also doing my master in computer vision when I started the company, but the expertise is more in the hardware side. And when we founded the company, I ended up being the CEO.
Okay, cool. And what kind of industries is this for then? So there's a lot of, I guess the other kind of drones in a box companies or the marketing that you see around it is usually focused on something with like, maybe a secure site, like a construction site or a mining or potentially like a power plant or something. I mean, how do you guys envision this, and where have you focused your products to? Which industries is this focused for?
So when you consider a drone in a box solution, it's not for industries that need a one-off solution. And if you look at insurance or even more fragmented industries like I see in agriculture and filming, of course, where you see, I think, today more commercial work with the kind of the current drones value chain of people flying DJI and doing some analytics based on them. I think that the on-site systems are here to serve different needs or to kind of open up new verticals. So if you think about it today, if there is a work that is 24/7, let's say security or any kind of inspection or safety routines that are needed to be done 24/7, drones are not really effective way to do it because you still have an operator there 24/7. And so the on-site approach, when you look at those missions, are just, they make more sense. The reason that you see them going to mining, energy, oil and gas, and all those industries that I think today are using drone in a very limited way. They try to do it, but they're not doing a very good job capitalizing on them, is that those companies, they have a really big need, and those systems are still more expensive, and they make sense in terms of ROI. And also, when you look at a drone in a box, I think you want to cover an area. It's not like if you think about a telephone pole, maybe it doesn't make sense to have a base station in each telephone antenna. But if you think about an energy site where you have the security and so many assets together that you can offer, the amount of value that you can offer with an on-site system is just so much bigger than the existing solutions. And this is why you see those companies focusing on those areas.
Let's talk about the hardware. So I was on the website earlier stalking you guys before the interview, and it looks like one of the sensors that's actually on the drone. Well, first of all, let's talk about the drone. It's a quadcopter. It has a name. I forget. What is it?
Sparrow.
The Sparrow. So the Sparrow is a quadcopter. It lives in this box. Well, tell us about the drone, the sensor, and then the box that it lives in, because that's super interesting. This is something that most companies don't have. They don't have this box. And so, let's hear it.
So I must say that the entire concept of drone in a box, it's more than actually having the box. It's having the entire kind of approach and software to support a drone that it is actually integrated in the way this facility operates, in a way that is both seamless or not disturbing for the people working there, but also effective for the people operating it. So there's a lot of work on making it kind of be a product other than having the box itself. You know what I mean? The drone hardware, the first requirement is that actually it's going to be robust enough to be outdoor for a few years. And I think the requirements for those drones than any other kind of drones that you have today that are mainly built to be in the back of your truck when you go somewhere. Those drones are deployed in kind of harsh environments, and they need to work there for a long time. So it's the first differentiator. Specifically in our drone, again, we are focused being real-time AI and computer vision capabilities to these drones. And inside, you'll find an NVIDIA TX family processor that is there for this purpose. And is kind of the core of all the application we add to the normal kind of drone flight control, capabilities. This is our basic offering. The payload itself, it's also the basic offering include both a thermal camera and a high-resolution camera, because we are a 24/7 solution. So you gotta have day and night kind of value that you provide, because it's usually not just a daytime solution. And the base station, it's there to charge the drone, and some companies replace the batteries and shelter the drone. I think where our approach is that the hardware kind of a hassle or complexity should be as simple as possible, and just make it as simple, as easy as possible to deploy on a site and solve all the hard problems on the software on top of it and how you manage the drone itself. So the base station itself, its main role there is charging and maintaining the drone.
Is it fully self-contained? Like, could you just kind of take this box and drop it somewhere in the middle of nowhere and have the drone be fully powered? I mean, what I'm getting at is, are there solar panels charging it, or can you just add solar panels basically and like plug those in if that was the choice of power?
I think the latter is the right way to approach it. Again, no need to add complexity of solar panels if most customers will not use it. Basically, when you deploy our drone in a box solution, you need to have power, very simple power, a plug will do, and you need to have network usually. And if you need this client that need to get LTE kind of solution or solar panel solution, these can be tailored for this project, but it doesn't have to be part of your solution that make it complex for everyone else that can deliver this type of infrastructure.
And so it is connected then to a network, because then this kind of ties directly into the software. So I imagine it's connected to the network so that you can use the cloud-based software to schedule the drone, control it, kind of have like a mission control area. So can you tell us about the software a little bit? Is this purely used for just controlling when, scheduling the drone and planning the missions, or how are the companies using this?
So first of all, I'll say that in terms of connecting to the network, both the drone and the base station are connected to the network. So even, the drone by itself, you have LTE, and all the drones are connected to the cloud management software all the time.
Okay, so that's embedded in the drone then, the LTE modem.
Definitely.
Nice.
And it's the software, the cloud management software, that it's like you think about it. It's in the cloud, very easy to integrate and operate, that you use to manage the entire fleet of drones in your site. So it's managed site by site. If you have a site in Houston and another site in San Jose, you'll manage them on different kind of screens, but through the same system. And the drones in a single site will work together.
This episode of Commercial Drones FM is brought to you by FLIR. Pretty much everyone in the commercial drone world knows about FLIR's thermal imaging technologies and may even have a basic understanding of how their sensors work. At Commercial Drones FM, we think this technology is deserving of the spotlight to reveal some of the incredible things thermal imaging drones can accomplish. Drones equipped with thermal imagers offer a way to see the world from a different perspective, which can help identify infrastructure problems, locate missing people, and increase safety and efficiency across a variety of industries. The value of thermal imaging for commercial drone operations is undeniable. So I want to use this podcast as a platform to dive deep into the world of heat and seek out the best practices and the unique use cases that make thermal imaging sensors the most drone-ready payload for commercial drone applications right next to RGB cameras. So join us over the coming months as we invite FLIR and their customers into our studio to discuss the technical and practical uses of their groundbreaking efforts in aerial thermal imagery. This episode of Commercial Drones FM is brought to you by Deveron UAS. Deveron UAS offers enterprise drone services for farmland across North America. I recently spoke with Bonduelle, one of Deveron's largest customers.
So my name is Jennifer Thompson. I work for Bonduelle America's Long Life. We're a vegetable processor. Bonduelle is a very large company with 54 plants in the world. Here in North America, we have 11 plants doing frozen and canned vegetables.
So naturally, I wanted to know, how is Deveron helping one of the largest vegetable processors in the world by using drone technology?
So we use Deveron to service and support our precision agricultural needs. For us, it's not easy to have our own or fly our own drones to gather crop data. So Deveron is ready and available to work for us when needed. We fly thousands of acres, and managing those acres, it just works very easily with them in our fast-paced growing season. They're not just providing data, they're helping to solve issues and find solutions.
Well, that's very important work, but what's your favorite crop to eat?
My favorite crop to eat is sweet corn. I will eat sweet corn 365 days of the year.
I'm not sure if I've ever eaten sweet corn yet that was monitored by drone. To learn more, visit deveronuas.com/dronesfm and see for yourself how Deveron is leading collaboration in agriculture with drones. That's deveronuas.com/dronesfm. Okay, back to the show. Gotcha. And so the actual missions that the drone is performing then, so is it doing any like photogrammetry, mapping? Is it mainly doing inspection? Is it just doing surveillance? Like, can it be tied into other APIs, I guess? Like if you have, I'm just imagining, I mean, this is not an industrial example that I'm going to give, but maybe you have like a Nest camera or something, you know, like an internet connected camera that can detect there's motion in an area. And then maybe that API signal can be sent to the Percepto drone, and then the Sparrow launches and then it goes and investigates. I mean, is that the kind of level of integration we're talking here? And then what kind of missions can the drone perform?
So definitely integrating in that level. I think when you think in security, and we look at security as kind of the basic layer that you provide, because you mentioned serving. And serving, I think if all you need is serving, probably getting some service once a month or so is enough for you, and no reason to deploy an on-site system. But if you deploy it for security and you need 24/7 security, now you already have a drone in your site. Maybe you can do serving with this drone and not calling in a service. The type of mission, I think this was your second question, think about security. You have either patrol or respond to alert. And today, Percepto is being offered by the biggest security integrator in the States, Tyco, that today they call JCI. And the type of solution that they offer is integrated with other sensors. So you can have a camera or indicative fence or even a radar solution. You have so many new technology emerging in different spaces. And many times, if we'll talk specifically on radar, false positive is a big issue. And a drone that is by itself getting to a location, make sure that you see what the alert was about and you manage this event effectively is a great way to manage, big areas.
Yeah, being connected to all those other systems that are already existing. I mean, that's what you hear constantly. That's one of the biggest challenges for the drone industry right now, is just connecting to the systems of record of all these different companies in these different industries. And I think connected drones, specifically connected to the network, to the internet, are incredibly powerful, and it makes all of these things possible. It's so easy for the systems then to be able to talk to each other and then take actions based on that. So it's leading us more towards this autonomous future. You mentioned on your website as well the cost-saving solutions. So maybe with an example of security or something, or one of your most common use cases, how are these drone deployments, there without a pilot, without a direct pilot controlling the drone? How are those saving companies that use the Percepto solution? What kind of cost savings are we talking here?
So basically, there are a few kinds. If you think about a security solution, let's say Tyco is a security integrator, and they have I think 7 billion yearly security integration business. So they build 7 billion worth of business of just deploying new security equipment and maintaining and install it. And if you get a large area, in many of the big facilities that we mentioned, industrial manufacturing site, mining, you have a small area that is covered with cameras, and 90% of the area that you're not managing with any cameras because it's large areas. So if you want to just cover an area where you have visibility, but you didn't make the commitment of deploying fence and cameras every 200 meters. So, sorry, my metric is meters.
No, that's totally fine.
So your cost saving is on actually deploying equipment. Some companies can decide that instead of having personnel patrolling, which is not that effective, they want to reduce the amount of personnel, again, never to zero, but it can be sometime replacement to personnel in different facilities. And it really, I think, those two areas when you think about security. When you go into safety, for many of those companies, the main driver, I think, will be reducing the risk, because risk is a big factor when you deal with those complicated sites like an oil and gas refinery or energy facility. And then inspection, I think the unique part of inspection is that there is an opportunity to not only reduce costs, but also increase productivity. And increased productivity is something that you really have to build into the site kind of operation, so it takes longer. But when you are able to increase productivity for a power plant or industrial manufacturing site, the budget you are touching are much bigger. in cost saving, I'll give you the last example because I think it's also interesting one. We work with a company, steel manufacturing company, and they have a huge site. It's acres and acres of storage facility where it's 20 years old, and they got water dripping into their warehouse in some places. Mm-hmm. And if they didn't notice, they got their goods damaged, and having damaged, the damage cost about a few $100,000 just for the leaking roof problem. And didn't have any operation of maintaining the roof. They couldn't even send people to inspect it because they were not designed to it when they were built. And they tried to build a drone operation to just oversee a simple application as rooftop inspection that can actually save them a few $100,000 per year if they better maintain the roof. So when you go to those heavy industrial facilities, you find that even the simplest application can really save a lot of money.
Yeah, and putting a camera in places, like you mentioned, a camera that can just move around and go wherever it needs to. So I guess, with your background and with your co-founder's background in computer vision and machine learning, then you guys are, I'm imagining, developing some specific algorithms and training data in order to kind of identify these specific areas where the customer could save money, or, only maybe send an alert to the customer if X is wrong or it doesn't meet the certain factors. And can you tell us a little bit, maybe some of the ways you guys are using your backgrounds in computer vision?
So definitely, this is what we're doing. We are trying to build more application based on our access to clients and our access to data on those sites. And I think one of the unique value proposition that you have when you have a drone in a box solution installed, that you have an access for 24/7 data on those sites, and you can really start thinking about aerial data in a new way when you're using it this way. In terms of exact applications, I will not say. I think it's too long, but we do focus that if it is on board and it's like a real-time computer vision or AI, we see it as core. It's part of kind of embedded into what we do. In some cases, if it's kind of a post-processing application that adds value. If it's unique data, we might do it ourselves. If it's not a unique data, like surveying that you have a lot of companies that are doing here, and other applications that are just available, we are partnering with other companies and just offering solutions to basically add value to our clients.
That makes sense, yeah. And so what do you think then, in the US, which is where most of my regulatory expertise is based in, we have issues. We can't really deploy these drones in a box because the regulations simply do not allow it, because you need, that's a beyond visual line of sight operation, and having a pilot there while the drone's deployed kind of defeats the whole economic purpose and the efficiency gains that you're getting from this drone in a box. So what are some of the biggest challenges with these drones in a box, with the technology that you're developing? And is regulatory issues one of them? And does this affect you guys in Israel? How are you guys looking at this as far as, where you can make a difference and what's holding you back the most?
So again, regulation is pretty much the most or the biggest kind of a drawback I think this industry had. The reason you don't have more solution is because regulation was not set to solve those problems. It's not a U.S. problem. It's everywhere, not even the West. So there are some geographies that are much easier for us to work, and we do that. But our focus is actually US and Europe in terms of customers. I think we got to a point that customers are too interested and are moving forward. We got to a point now that the FAA, he set the Part 107, where he made it easy for drone services business to offer a solution. But he also laid kind of the foundation to say how you're going to do waivers and how you're going to start working about beyond vision line of sight solution, which is the main limitation for the drone in a box solution. What you've seen in the last few months with the FAA, they're approving more operation based on observers that are not trained. And I think this is actually offering a good enough solution for many of our clients in how they can maintain a beyond vision line of sight operation. It's big part of the reason that we chose to work with energy, oil and gas and mining, and I think the rest as well, because it's looking at kind of access control areas where the customer is looking to manage his asset. And also, you can, in most cases, it's kind of remote from where people are living. So it's more sterile in that sense.
Yeah, so there's like a kind of inherent level of safety rather than doing this in a big metropolitan city area. It's kind of sometimes out in the middle of nowhere, restricted areas that's already very controlled. So there's just it's kind of a safer environment in general then.
Yeah, so I think the regulator will always respond last. You got to have the client's kind of need and action moving forward, and you got to have the technology ready to be demonstrated, and only then basically regulator can actually move forward. But just as we've seen, Part 107 getting here after a few years, we had those 3 exemptions, and it led the FAA some time to learn what people are doing and what makes sense. I think now we're at the learning curve for beyond visual line of sight, and one of the trends that I'm counting on moving forward is regulation and barriers are getting lower. And I think the way for us to enable the regulator to actually lower those bars is demonstrated areas where it's effectively working. And it's not only about technology. It's also about the method of operation and how you find the right techniques and the right use of this technology to the place where you feel it's safe, the customer feels safe, and the FAA can also agree that this is safe.
Yeah, totally agree. One of the things that I feel is very important, and some people will want to know because there might be potential customers or partners. What can you give us like a range of cost on one of these Percepto units or like a deployment? And maybe you can explain, like, I'm sure it might differ by scenario, but is this like a direct purchase or is this kind of like a leasing of the Sparrow and the drone and the box and everything? How does that work and how does Percepto handle that?
So clients should consider those solutions are not like buying a DJI Phantom 4. I'll give you a price range without commit to any number. It's a few tens of thousands. Dollars.
Sorry, I spoke over you. How many?
Sorry, a few tens of thousands.
Okay.
And the way to get it is different from every company that I see. We work both direct and through channels, but usually through channels. I mentioned here one of them, which is a big one in the States. And in any case, there is a level of involvement of us in this system. I think we are the drone experts and we deliver a solution that we have to vouch for 3 years. So we do have partly, at least, of the deal is leasing or some type of software licensing.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense.
But not going into all the details of how you buy a Percepto.
Of course.
People will have to contact us in that.
Absolutely, yeah. So speaking of that and kind of, in order to wrap up the conversation, and we'll get to the way to contact you guys, what do you think the future is here? I mean, you guys are kind of blazing the trail here towards, autonomous drones that live in a box. It doesn't matter. They're living in a box now. It's like, this is just like the boxes, as you mentioned before, it's like a means to an end. It's not, there's not always going to be this box. It might not be needed. Maybe if someone tries to grab the drone, in the future, it's going to shock them or something, it's not going to have to be in a box. But, the future of this technology, it's hard to me, it's kind of hard to say right now, in my mind. But where do you see this in like the next 5-10 years? Do you just see that regulations might be just finally kind of like really embracing this? And so in maybe 5 years, we'll finally just see a lot of drones that are in boxes, and maybe even beyond that. What do you see happening here, and how is this going to affect the drone industry as a whole?
Well, again, I'm a big believer in this. It's going to affect the drone industry, but also society in a sense. 5 years time frame, I think it's definitely a time where we're going to see regulation that is making much easier to do many different drone applications. The way I see it, and I think you also said it, the drone in a box concept, basically a drone working without an operator, is the way the future is going to work. And I think we are talking of the application right now. With deliveries is going to be huge. I'm sure delivery is going to be huge. And we're going to be in a future where we get some services out of drone. We order, the press is going to use it, the police department. If you want to get some visual on different type of urban areas, I think drone can help in many other ways, not only in deliveries. And the reason that we are so focused on the commercial application, I just think that we're going to see it there first, because there are areas where the ROI is very high, and again, it's easier to maintain an operation than it is in here in San Francisco. So the three trends I'm assuming, costs are going to go down, cost of hardware. Regulation barriers are going to go down. Again, they're going to get always last. We got to have everything figured out for them to actually move, but they're going to follow, because they're already doing that today. And also we're going to see some standards, real standards coming in. I think today DJI is kind of the standard, kind of by reality.
Yeah.
And we're going to see other things getting standardized, and then services just going to get more efficient in that sense.
Exactly. Cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much, Dor, for joining us.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. It's really cool to learn about your perspectives on these drones in the box and like kind of the future of drone autonomy, taking the human out of the loop. We've kind of talked about that a little bit before on the show, but in order to contact Percepto, you can visit their website. I just pulled it up here. It's percepto.co, C-O, not .com, percepto.co. And then you can follow Percepto on Twitter at PerceptoDrones and Facebook.com/PerceptoDrones. And while you're at it, you can follow the podcast on Twitter at Drones Podcast. Go ahead and check out the website at commercialdrones.fm. Releasing episodes bi-weekly, so come back in a couple weeks. You'll hear the next episode. We'll have another cool guest to share with you. And so before we go ahead and cut off the mics, Dor, do you have any last parting thoughts to leave us with as we go ahead and play the swan song here?
No, I think we touched on an exciting topic for me, and I think for everyone. I think what people need to know is that it is available right now. It is happening. You have not only startups to contact you. We're working with, again, the biggest integrators that you can imagine, and the biggest client that you can imagine here in the States that are looking to integrate it right now. And if you are this type of client, please contact us.
Sounds good, guys. Yeah, that's one of the things, is that this is happening. It might be on a smaller scale right now, but I foresee this specific sector of drone operations being one of the fastest growing as regulations continue to catch up. So thanks again, Dor. Everyone, that was Dor Abuhasira. There we go.
Yeah.
I have to go look at the spelling in order to get it right. CEO of Percepto. We're going to go ahead now. We're going to cut off the mics. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Cheers.
Bye.